brokered by eXp Realty, and owner of the Empire Realty Group.
And we are Sisters in Real Estate.
Hello, and welcome to Sisters in Real Estate. I am LaShonda, the Realtor.
And I am your home and loan girl, Nikita Jacobs. Hey, listen, I'm excited today to get this.
I am excited. We've took a little hiatus, but we're back now. We're actually hibernating right now. It's the winter apocalypse.
It's crazy out here. Today is February 2nd. So when we're recording, and yes, it's been a winter wonderland.
Yeah. But we got a new month, so that means new goals that we're trying to accomplish. But first, before we dive into any of that, we got to start off with a little bit of the tea, which is real estate market status. And like our last episode, we talked about builders. So giving you guys just a little bit of information on what's going on with the builders. A lot of them, as I said before, are basically just giving the house away. They have a lot of inventory homes, which is basically like a brand new house that they built that is now ready to move in. That's what an inventory home is. And they need to get rid of those. Yeah, they need to get rid of it because they lose money the longer it sits on the market vacant. So a lot of them are trying to get rid of those houses so that they can continue to build more houses. And some of the incentives that they're giving, I actually have a good list here for y'all. Some of the incentives are they have no choice but to roll back the prices. So right now it's like rollback season for a lot of these builders where they're having to discount the house price to get it more attractive to buyers to build, to buy, not to build, to buy the house. Some of the other things that they're doing, they're paying closing costs. So if your closing costs are a big deal for you in order to be able to close or purchase a house, some of these builders are willing to pay that for you in order to incentivize you to buy their home. And in order to find out which builders offer that, you contact me as your realtor. And then a couple of other things, which a lot of people will probably be shocked to know this, but sometimes things like blinds, garage door openers, ceiling fans, those are considered like upgrades or add-ons to a lot of builders. But because they are in need of selling their houses, some of them are now including them as a standard feature in their house. Even like appliances like refrigerators and washers and dryers. Those are things that you don't always see in new construction homes. Now you get the standard microwave, oven, dishwasher, things like that, but you don't really get to choose or have the builder buy you a refrigerator or put a washer and dryer in it. So that's what's going on right now. You're getting discounted prices. Some of them are discounting their interest rates if you use their lender, but we have a home and loan girl already here, so there's really no need to use their lender. And like I said, they're throwing in a lot of other incentives. So if you're looking to buy and you want to try and get the bang for your buck, you reach out to a trusted realtor and let's talk about it. Let's talk about what it is that you want, what you're looking for, what area you're looking in. And then I can really easily match you with a builder depending on what your budget is. So that's the tea.
That is some good tea. And I think before we talked about making sure that you have representation, because your realtors know which builders are great, which ones will work with you, which ones you might need to go to depending on what your situation is, Right. And so her knowing and your realtor knowing this information and having those connections and those relationships already, she already knows what to say and what to do. Versus you, if it's your first time buying a home, you don't know some of that stuff she just said, like blinds ain't included, ceiling fans are upgrades, like all those things you may not know. And so it's important that you understand that part of the process. And she's there to be on your team. She is team you. So it's important for you to kind of make sure that you're being represented in that aspect. But we're going to go ahead and go into something that I think kind of plays a whole role into even going and searching and looking for a home. And we're going to talk about pre-approval. Okay.
Let's do it.
I can't stress it enough. Do not go look at a property until you know where you stand, until you know the amount that you're pre-approved for. I see so many times where, homeowners or future homeowners get they're excited, but you go see this home that your budget can't get you. And so then you're discouraged from even buying because you wanted this, but your budget said you got to get this, but the important thing is buying now. So we're going to talk about the pre-approval process, and we're going to talk about the pre-qualification. So there's one, honestly, to me, they're used interchangeably. You got some people that use pre-qualifications. Like I send out pre-qualification letters, but I do a massive check. I do not go and send out a pre-qualification or a pre-approval letter without me checking your bank statements, your pay stubs, checking everything that I need to check to ensure that, hey, you are truly pre-approved for this amount. And so one of the things I always make sure I'm gonna pre-approve you for the amount that you can get, right? But you need to know what your budget is. You need to know and do your homework on the amount that you're looking for. Versus what you want to, because even though what you really kind of want your budget to be may not be what you want. So you do need to kind of be flexible in that area. But pre-approval, pre-qualifications, for me, is kind of used interchangeably. People say pre-quals are more so just getting information from the client and just using, that part to be able to determine if they're pre-approved. Or they're pre-qualified for, a certain amount of loan. For me, I use the pre-qualification, but I still do every check there is. I still run it through our automated underwriting system to determine what you truly can do. Pre-approvals are supposed to be where the underwriter has already gone in and done an approval check on it. And so, again, those are just used so interchangeably. If you talk to another lender, they're going to say something different. It just depends on what you do. But I know for me, I'm going to check everything. I'm not going to even send out anything with just what you put on the application, because 9 times out of 10, a lot of times you don't truly know how we calculate things. The last thing that we want to do is get you this letter and you're excited because you now know what what you can pre-qualify for. And once we go into underwriting, then they're like, oh no, you really don't qualify for this amount of home.
Right.
We don't want to be in that position, because then that you've wasted so much time and energy, and your morale is down. So get with the lender that truly understands the process and is not going to set you up. I'm not going to say fail, but to challenge in that situation, because even though that happens, you don't want to give up your home buying, journey, because sometimes it is a process. And so you still want to continue to pursue that. So I will always say, like, don't go look at anything, get with the lender, okay, and get pre-approved. You have to supply documentation. I have so many people to say, well, I don't want you to run my credit. Well, listen, I can't get you a pre-approval without running your credit. I don't know. Right. I can't give you just something out the air. I'm not going to do that. So if you're not willing to do that part, then I can't go, forward with anything besides giving you hypotheticals,
right.
And that leads to nowhere, because if you go look for a house, you can't submit a hypothetical letter. You just can't. Okay. So I would definitely say the pre-approval process, get with the lender, get an application in. Your documents, you have to be able to put your documents in, which is your W-2s, your bank statements, your pay stubs, and your driver's license. It's so simple. Those are really easy documents that everybody probably has access to. Nowadays, employers have it where you can go in and look at your pay stubs print them off, save them to a PDF, upload it into the portal. It's
Right.
important to also upload to a secure portal to protect your personal information. I know that some people are not technology savvy, and that's perfectly fine. We have options for you to come into the office if you're local in Texas, Dallas, Fort Worth area. You're more than welcome to come to the office, and we can, kind of sort those things out. But I always say that document determines basically what you can qualify for or pre-qualify for, right? And so if you don't have that document, how do you know what you truly can pre-qualify for?
Right.
And it just tells you a little bit more about the picture. It's an estimate, right? So it doesn't necessarily say you are approved, okay? It does say pre-qualify. So just like you get those things in the mail saying, hey, you might be approved for a credit card, and when you apply, it's like, oh no, we didn't
Right.
look that part right
Plan.
there. We planned
Right.
that. So it's not, it's a little bit, that's why it's important for us to get all your documents and for you to be very honest. Like, you have to be honest with
Yeah.
your loan officer.
That's
And when
important.
we're asking these questions, don't withhold information thinking we're not going to find out,
Right.
because we will. And
Right.
it may be in the process when we find out under underwriting, and you've already submitted this money and you've paid out all this money. So it does not benefit you to hold off information from us.
Yeah.
Okay. That's the most important thing I can really say, is being honest upfront about everything.
Right.
I mean, even things that you don't even think may matter, it might matter,
Yeah.
So I
And
don't
then
make the rules. I'm gonna be honest. People, I know that, you don't like submitting documents and you don't understand why this rule is this rule. Listen, if you want to get a house, we got to follow the rules. And that's just bottom line to it. And so I'm not trying to be
all in your business, right?
yeah, I don't, I'm not trying to be all in your business, and I'm not trying to be rude, but I want to be transparent because I want to help you. I want to
Right.
make sure that you know where you need to go. And that sometimes, I know we're afraid of things. And so I always try to make sure you understand, like, hey, I'm on your side and I'm on your team. You want to get a house, I want to help you get a house. So that's my ultimate goal, no matter what. So I always look at me as your team. I'm on your team. We're here to
Right.
try to get you what you're looking for. LaShonda is here to find you the house that you love. I'm here to get the loan so you can get that house that you love. And then we kind of go from there, like, that's important. And so having a trusted team to back you and to have, to make sure that you're good is important. So first step should always be that pre-approval process. And, honestly, and just to kind of take a step back, when you ask realtors to show you homes that you have not even been pre-approved, and you're like, oh yeah, I can do that, that tells them you're not serious.
Yeah.
When you actually have that document to show, that means that you've taken the steps, you serious about it, and they like, okay, cool. Because realtors don't get paid off of going to show you houses and not closing. And I'm not trying to be ugly, but nobody,
Yeah.
you wouldn't work for free. If your job say, you know what, just come in and work every day. We might pay you if we
Yeah.
can achieve this right here.
Right.
And so I think that is important for us to understand that, to make sure that you're being considerate, right? I understand that, that we work with you, not for you, but we work with you to get where you need to go. So
Yeah.
um,
And
it's
then
just
I would say don't, when you are going through the pre-approval process, because I know a lot of people probably have this kind of phobia, your loan officer does not share your personal information with your realtor. We as realtors, we are not privy to any of your private information. The only thing we know is what's on that pre-approval letter. That's it. Loan officers are, by law, they can't tell us, oh, they got this, and that going on, or so be, like she said, honest with them up front, so that if it's something that they can be proactive about before you get to underwriting, before you pay your earnest money on that house, give them that opportunity, because then you put yourself in a situation where now you're looking at me as your realtor to try and get your money back out of this contract,
great
because
point.
you weren't upfront about something, thinking it was a really little small thing that doesn't make a difference when it does. So now, you're wanting your earnest money back, and then, you're wanting the loan officer to come up with some kind of magic to make it all work. But that's why, in my opinion, it's important to be honest with them, is because it's not always a guarantee that you'll get that earnest and option money back. That option money is basically just like a good faith kind of thing. You're basically giving that away to the seller if you don't move forward with buying that house. So it's very, very important to be honest in that pre-approval process, not only with the loan officer, but yourself, because she may be able to pre-qualify you for $400,000 based off of what she can see from her initial due diligence. But if you know that you paying your mama $1,000 a month and you ain't disclosed that information, and you're gonna continue to pay her $1,000 a month, what, for whatever reason, that could hurt you in the end. So be honest, just with everybody that's involved in the process. I like that. So I have a question, because a lot of people kind of get a little overwhelmed when they're asked for documentation. So in your process, when you receive an application for financing, what are some of the key documents that you ask for initially when it comes to trying to start the pre-approval process? Like right now, if I were to submit an application, what would you ask me for?
So they first, of course, have to fill out the application, right? Complete everything there. Then we would ask for, depending upon their income, right? If they are W-2 employee, then we would ask for the last 2 years of their W-2s. We would ask for the last 2 months recent bank statements, all pages of the bank statements.
So what if like the last page is like blank and it says
we need all pages.
Okay.
If it says 6 of 7, we need 7 of 7.
Okay.
So we also need pay stubs, the last 30 days worth of pay stubs, most recent 30 days of pay stubs, and then the driver's license. And that's really all you need if you work for an employer and you have a W-2. If you're self-employed, it does get a little bit more complex, right? Because we're going to, especially if you have K-1s, if you're paying yourself, if you're giving yourself a W-2, filing taxes. So we need last 2 years of tax returns. We'll need, if you have your W-2s, we need your W-2s for that. We need your personal taxes, your business taxes. So yes, it is a little bit more complex when it comes to it. Now, I do go a little bit further, depending upon when I look at their job history, and it's so choppy. The last thing I want to do, because a lot of times, to be honest, like we don't really know like the exact dates that we work, especially if we work so many companies.
Yeah.
And so it's important for me to paint the picture, right? The whole picture, to see when did you start this job? When was this job ended? Okay, then this job started here, because we want to make sure there's no real big gaps in between,
Right.
And so if I have to request for a verification of employment, I might do that up front. And that's because, again, that's a benefit to the client, really, because of the more that I can get up front, once we go into underwriting, will be good. Sometimes I'll even look at the bank statements, and if I see there are some things on the bank statements I kind of keep my eye on, we may need a letter of explanation for this. If there's inquiries on the credit report that may result into new credit, I might ask questions about that and get a letter of explanation for that, because they're going to need it. But just the initial application, if everything else is good, and W-2s, pay stubs, bank statements, and driver's license.
So if I'm applying today and I'm a W-2 employee, can I give you 2022 tax return and 2021, or do you need 2021 and 2020?
We don't need tax returns. We need the
the W-2s.
Yeah, we need 2022 and 2021.
Okay. Okay. Good to know. That's some good information, because I think a lot of people get tripped up on that process and what's needed and why. And a lot of people don't keep up with their W-2s. Once they file their tax returns, they like, I got my money.
We have to have W-2s. It is non-negotiable.
You gotta have it. You gotta have it.
You have to have it. And so I think you can go to irs.gov if you don't have it, to get it, request for it, or whatever the case is. Might be able to get some sort of something. But we do need the W-2. So there is a way that you have to kind of get that. All the documents.
What if their ID or driver's license is expired?
We need
an issue.
That is a problem. Yes, we need it to be not expired. We need an unexpired driver's license or ID.
Okay, and a passport, is that considered a viable form of ID if their driver's license is expired?
I believe so. I'm not, you know what, I'll have to check more on that part. I
Okay.
believe if it's an ID and it shows who you are, I believe that's okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Good deal. That's some good stuff. Like I said, a lot of people don't understand, why things are asked for and why it's taking so long, and how important it is to be very attentive to your emails, to your phone. Like, of course you're working. We want you to be working for
Right.
real if you're trying to buy a house. But it's important to be conscious of, okay, I'm in the middle of trying to buy this house. Let me keep an eye on my emails or my phone calls or my text messages, because the process can get drawn out, right? The process can get drawn out from them getting pre-approved, and then that could discourage you. But it's just a simple thing of communicating. Hey, are you missing anything from me? Because maybe you didn't get the email, maybe it went to your spam.
Right.
But just be conscious, because we're all human. We all are working, So if you don't get anything or you don't hear anything, but you know that you're trying to buy this house, it's okay to call, email, text.
Right.
Hey, just checking in. Do you have everything you need from me? And if they're a good, loan officer like Nikita, then of course they're going to respond to you within 24 hours if you're busy.
Yeah.
Just to say, just to let you know, like, hey, everything's good. Here's where we are. If she hasn't already done that, she's really good at keeping you informed and updated with what's going on. But that's a very key part of the process, in my opinion, as a realtor, because, if you're reaching out to us and then we hand you off to our trusted loan officer, and then, 2 weeks have gone by, we're like, what's going on? Did Sally get cold feet, or what's what's up?
2 weeks should never go by. Like, you should
Right.
be knowing, like, hey, we're working on a couple things. I have them, getting just a
Right.
couple more things in. It's gonna take a little while longer. I'll update you once we get there. You know what I
Right.
mean? That should be communication between loan officer and
Yeah.
realtor.
Right.
It's important to have a loan officer that can communicate, because I get it. When you're in the dark and you don't know what's going on, and the client really don't know either, because they're first time home buyers. So
They're
even if
like,
you explained it to them, they still kind of don't get it too much. So
mm-hmm,
it's important to kind of make sure, their realtor is, because we're a team, right? When you
mm-hmm.
look at we're team, we're gonna say Johnson, right? If the client name is Johnson, Team Johnson over here, and so we're trying to get them to where they need to go, but we have to also know how to communicate with each other to
Right.
make it effective. Just like if I do the pre-approval and I'm like, hey, LaShonda, this is where they're at right here. With the amount that but we need something else. We need this part,
Right.
and so that's where we come in as a team to kind of strategize on how we can do this for you.
Right. Right.
So it's important for that to happen.
That's good. That's
Yeah.
really good. We need to get some people pre-approved in these new construction homes. But and talking about that, since new construction was our market stat for today, even if me as a realtor, if I take you to a new construction property, you still need a pre-approval, in my opinion. Me personally, I don't go on home tours unless I know what you can afford to buy. There are a lot of houses out here that are in various different price ranges. And I do not practice taking people to see houses that they can't afford, and I'm also not in the practice of showing you houses, that are well under your budget. I want you to get the best bang for your buck.
Right.
So that is why I stress the pre-approval process, because I don't want to insult you and show you a house, that's well under your budget, well under what you can afford, when you can get, the bells, the whistles, and your cake too.
Yeah.
I want to show you what your money can buy you.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I stress the importance of getting a pre-approval, because even if we go out to the new construction areas and they have their preferred lenders and they throw all these, oh, we can do this, oh, we can do that. Nikita still has amazing programs that can sometimes compete with what those builders are doing, because a lot of times they're not always just offering things that are benefiting you. They just make it sound that way. And again, that's why you have a realtor to partner with you, even when you're going on new construction communities, to make sure that you understand what it is that they're doing. Sometimes just because they're, paying your closing costs, what does that look like? Are you actually paying it, but they're doing something with the numbers to make it look like you're not? Like, it's a lot of stuff that goes into it. A lot of people just hear, oh, they give me $10,000. Yeah, but you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So that's a lot of stuff that a lot of people don't know and they don't see. They just think, oh, they're giving me this big deal and all this money. It must be, the best deal around town. But
Right.
that's my two cents.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's my 2 cents when it comes about it. I think this is a really good topic because this is the key part of buying a house, getting
Mm-hmm.
pre-approved, knowing what you can buy, knowing what you can afford, and partnering with a realtor that can put you in a position to win.
That's right. And lender partner with a
And
realtor.
your lender partner. So, even with that being said,
Mhm.
don't let people put limitations on you.
Come
Don't
on.
let people tell you, girl, you don't want to go buy over there because it's high over there. Or girl, you don't want to sell your house because it's not a seller's market anymore. Like, do what's best for you and
Right.
your family. That's what's important. If you're ready to buy, buy. If you're
Right.
ready to sell, sell. But first, of course, consult with a professional, a realtor, a loan officer. If selling isn't right now, but you need to capitalize or pull some equity out of your house, call Nikita. Talk about, a refi, a home equity line of credit if you just want to do renovations but still stay in your house a couple more years. Those are some options. She doesn't just do buying, and she does a lot of things.
It's true. And just kind of talking about even on a kind of off the topic of real estate, but on topic of real estate too, limitations and allowing other people to put limitations on you. Know what your worth is when it comes to it. Know that your limitations, like for instance, I'll give you a prime example. I'm a loan officer, but I'm also a realtor. And if I had listened to everybody else around me, like saying, "Oh, why would you want to do that? That just sounds like a lot of work." And why would you want to do this? And putting their limits that they're afraid to do on me.
Right.
That's powerful. And so even when I bought my house the first time, I didn't really talk to anybody about buying my house, but I could imagine if I probably did, they probably would deter me from
Yeah.
buying a house. So I encourage you to know what it is that your goal is and you go for it and you achieve it. Like for me, I mean, I got my real estate license a while before I actually started the loan officer piece of it. And so when I had both, I was like, wow, the benefits of being able to be that one-stop shop for my client was it outweighed anything because I heard some of the realtors and they were like, loan officers don't communicate. And like it was that part that made me understand a little bit more about, okay, I really want to make sure my clients don't feel those type of, and I wouldn't want to be that realtor just in the dark, don't know anything about what's going on either. And so
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of the reason that I went, but I had so many people around me, oh, that's a conflict of interest, that's illegal, that's this. It's not. It's totally not. And so I worked hard to get both of those. And even today, I focus a lot more on the lending side, and I really kind of help with my realtor partners to give them some of the real estate. But if I have to do real estate, I can do it. I have an option to do real estate. And if I want to be, I can be on both sides of the transaction. So that's the wonderful thing about understanding, like, knowing what you want to do and not letting others put their opinions on you or trying to make you fearful of doing what it is that your heart desire. So
Right.
um I know
I
you
like
have
that
an
answer.
example too, Shonda, like,
Yeah, I mean, there's always naysayers. There's always people
yes.
that don't see your vision, and
Mhm.
they're going to have reasons why you shouldn't move forward with what you just told them you wanted to do. So
Mhm.
sometimes you don't have to or need to necessarily share your visions, your dreams, your goals with, certain people,
Mhm.
especially if they're not in alignment with you. If
Yes.
you're growing and and they're not, it may not agree with what you're doing, but that doesn't mean that you shouldn't do it. God doesn't give your dreams and your goals to other people.
Come on now, preach that
He'll
word,
put,
girl.
he'll
Listen.
put people in your life and in your circle or around you to he'll test you. He'll put them there to test you to make
Mhm.
sure that you really are, relying on him and that you have faith in what he can do for you. But you have to be wise enough and study to show yourself approved that
Yeah.
you're ready for that next level.
Mhm.
Because there are going to be trials, tribulations, there are going to be mountains, there are going to be valleys, there are going to be times where it's just like, ooh, I probably shouldn't have did that.
Yeah.
But don't let that stop you. Don't, if it wasn't meant for you, then you wouldn't be going on that path. You just have to trust the process and just keep it moving forward.
Know your worth, and I think that it's important for us to understand that. I know sometimes we think we're worth more than what we are. Okay, let's be clear, because I just put that out there. But know your worth. It's important.
You a mess.
Because some people, you know how they had that little thing going around, know your worth and add tax, and some of them ain't even worth what they think they worth. So you add it. Anyway, that's a whole nother thing. But anyway, but know your worth. Like when I tell you, know what you bring to the table, know the benefits that you have and that you hold. And like Shonda said, what God has given you is not for everybody else to understand. And
Mm-hmm.
so if your heart is to desire a home and they don't understand why you're paying this mortgage, well, they're not the people you need to be talking to, because God didn't give it to them. They
Right.
can't understand it. Their brain can't wrap around it.
Right.
And so it's important for you to understand that. And I think we're always evolving with
Mm-hmm.
knowing our worth, right? Because we're changing. And so it's like, okay, I'm bringing this to the table. I can do this and I can do that now. Even in business, it took me a minute, like, okay, I know that I'm of value. I know I add value to so many different people, and I know that I know my worth.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I know what I'm capable of. So anybody that's trying to give you less than what you worth, like, no, we're not
Yep.
doing that. I'm not doing that for 2023. And that don't mean I'm not about to, help people, but it
Right.
just means that I understand the value that I bring now.
Right. You know when it's time to move. Instead of sitting there like you would have before in 2020,
Yes.
you
Yes.
know now, okay, it's time for me to pick up my bag and move on to the next.
Right.
Because sometimes we'll just sit in something and not listen to whatever is telling us, okay, it's time for a change, or it's time to move, or it's time to do something about that. And we stay too long, and it can cause some damage for sure.
For sure.
So let's just make sure that we're empowering each other.
Sorry. Embrace your true self.
And evolve on your journey. Peace out,
Peace out, y'all. Thank y'all.
y'all.